Hi, my name's Helen Mason, and this is a high group shelter using a tarp and a rope for the level 3, Unit 2 level 3 Forest School Leader course. I'm going to start by checking that the area that is around me is safe for us to build a shelter in. I'm going to do that first by looking at the trees that I'm planning on using, and both trees seem to be very healthy. I'm also checking to make sure that there's no branches that might look like they might fall off on either of the trees, and both seem really good for this activity. I also have checked the ground layer, kind of removed any trip hazards or anything that looks particularly unsafe, such as big roots that are sticking out, or any animal nests such as bees or ants, making sure there's none of those around. Next on my list is to have a little look at my shelter. And on my shelter, you can see I've already started to secure cord onto the four corners. So you see where I'm up to. I want to find the centre line of my tarp. Here's my centre line. It runs all the way down the middle, and that is the bit that I'm going to be attaching between the trees. So there's one left for me to tie on, and I'm just going to take the end of my cord and I'm just going to simply do 2 half hitches to secure this cord to this corner of the tarp. So there's 1 half hitch. Ooh. And another half hitch on there, like that. Okay, now the rope I'm using today is actually a climbing rope, so it's much longer than the ones that we would use on site normally. However, it still fits the purpose really well, but I'm going to start by threading my shelter on before I've even attached it to any tree. So, there's my end of my rope. And again, I'm looking for the midline of my tarp. It is, and my tarp is lucky enough to have these loops along the middle, and I'm going to make full use of those. So, thread it through that, all the way down through each of the tabs until I reach the bottom. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is pull a big loop of slack out, and I'm going to do a timber hitch using this end against this tree. Now, this is a high group shelter, however I'm not very high, so I'm going to reach up as high as I can. So I'm going to take a loop of the rope around the tree like this. I'm going to take it underneath, back over, and then I'm going to wrap it around about 4 times. Once, twice, 3, and get another one in there. 4. Right, I'm going to shift it up as high as I can get it, and then pull it nice and tight like that. Okay, right, I'm then going to come across this side. I'm going to pull all my tarp over that side now, because that's in the way. I want to see how high I can get it to go and how tight I can make it. So, pull it all the way up to that side, and then this is where I'm going to have to be really strong and pull it as tight as I can. Up and around this tree. Again, I'm reaching as high up as I possibly can to create the highest shelter possible. I'm going to come around, and I'm going to use a tension knot, so it's going to go over the top like that, and as you can see I'm doubling this rope over now, and that's just purely the length of my rope. So I'm going to take a full handful, both ends, pull it right the way around as tight as I can, especially on this bit, pull it round, and then I'm going to secure it using a half hitch. So, and I'm going to incorporate both ends into the half hitch. I'm going to go over and pull it tight, and again another half hitch and pull it tight. Right, so that's as high as I can get that shelter to go. I'm going to pull this across. It gives you a little bit of an idea of where I want it. Now, if you want to come around this side, you'll be able to see how I'm going to peg out this side. I'm going to do 2 different ways. So this side I'm going to just use my cord that I've already attached, and then we'll do something slightly different on the other side. So I want it to come. I'm going to step over this and I'm going to go roughly about here with my cord. Okay. Checking it's just nice and secure, it's not going to go anywhere if anybody trips on it. It's slid down, so I'm going to move it up. And I'm going to push it, my peg's going to go in there. I'm very lucky because it's nice and soft ground. I'm going to use a clove hitch with my P and my Q, and I'm going to cross them over. I'm using a clove hitch because it is, I can adjust it and make it tighter. So I'm going to pull that nice and tight. So that I don't want this to be baggy, I want this to be nice and taut. Okay, and then I'm going to just step on my peg just to make sure it's nice and tight, and then I'm going to do the same on this side. Making sure again I want to pull it all the way up as close to my timber hitch as I possibly can. Peg this out, almost like these trees are made for this width of top. I'm going to push this down into the ground, and again I'm going to do a clove hitch. Once, twice, put it on, and tighten it up. Okay, step on that, just make sure it's secure, and then if we go around to the front side now, I'm going to show a slightly different way on how to secure the front. So I'd like my shelter to have a little bit more of an opening on one side, just to make it easier for children and for adults in the group to go in and get out of the shelter. So I'm going to use a tree branch, and I'm just going to again make use of the tarps features. So I'm going to slot it in here, and it's almost, this tree branch has actually got a slit in it already, so it's destined for this purpose. I'm going to pull it in, pull it out tight. Notice the tree branch is on a slight angle. This is going to give it more support. 45 degrees is much better than it being straight on. I'm going to put my peg in. And that's a bit stiffer in the ground there. There we go. I'm going to again do my clove hitch. Make sure it's really, really, really tight, especially on these. We don't want anything loose. If it's loose, then the branch will fall over. And I'm going to just give it a little step on. There we go. And I'm going to do exactly the same on this other side. So I've got a branch. And they're similar sizes, these branches, which is definitely helpful. I'm going to bring it out, I'm going to put my peg in. And I'm going to do my clove hitch, on my final peg. Put a little stand on, or you could use your mallet, and that is the high group shelter.